The educational materials presented here were developed by students and faculty of the Department of Food Science and Human Nutrition at Iowa State University. Funding for this project was provided by grants from the American Cancer Society Midwest and the Lance Armstrong Foundation. The materials are intended for educational use and are not meant to provide medical advice. We welcome your feedback about these materials. Please use the evaluation survey link on the homepage to provide your comments and suggestions.
This presentation will provide an overview of the connections between physical activity and breast cancer risk. I will first introduce physical activity and some of its benefits. Then I will show you the evidence of the effects physical activity has on reducing the risk of breast cancer. I hope to increase your understanding of the importance of physical activity, which will help you make decisions for your own lifestyle. The American Institute for Cancer Research defines physical activity as any form of movement using skeletal muscles. It is the daily sum of all movements using skeletal muscle. Occupational physical activity includes movements required for daily life, like sitting, standing, and walking around your office or house. Physical activity can also include activities done for enjoyment or as a hobby, like walking, biking, tennis, and swimming, among many others. Exercise is a form of physical activity that includes activity you do for health and fitness. These activities are also called recreational physical activity. Examples are either aerobic, like running and dancing, that can improve cardiovascular function, or anaerobic activities, like weightlifting. Another difference between physical activity and exercise is that exercise is typically done at higher intensities. Physical activity provides many benefits. First, it will help to maintain and/or reduce body weight. Research has shown significant links between weight and cancer risk. It will also help maintain and/or reduce your body mass index, or BMI, which is a measure of body weight compared to height. It is calculated by dividing an individual's weight in kilograms by their height in meters squared. Your BMI determines the weight category you are considered to be in. Underweight is a BMI of less than 18.5. Normal weight is 18.5 to 24.9. Overweight is 25 to 29.9. And obesity is a BMI of 30 or greater. Physical activity helps to burn the excess calories we take in instead of letting them turn into fat. It can also help break down the fat we currently have if we are consuming fewer calories. Research shows body fat is linked to cancer. Physical activity helps the body increase muscle mass. It also helps the body retain and strengthen bone. Physical activity helps to strengthen the immune system, and it makes us feel great by enhancing mental and emotional well-being. Before I continue with this presentation, I would like to explain some terms associated with cancer. In this presentation, we will focus on risk. Risk is the likelihood of developing cancer based on lifestyle choices and family history. Prevention is the lifestyle choices an individual takes to reduce their risk of being diagnosed with cancer. And reoccurrence is the return of cancer after treatment. This presentation will focus on ways to reduce risk. It is important to understand the difference between premenopausal breast cancer and postmenopausal breast cancer. Premenopausal breast cancer occurs in younger women. Oftentimes, the women who get this form of breast cancer have a genetic predisposition, and these cases are typically more severe and harder to treat. Postmenopausal breast cancer is a more common form and occurs in older women. It is linked to a younger age at a woman's first period and an older age at the start of menopause. Women also have a higher risk for developing breast cancer if they have no children or are older when they have their first child. There is also a strong link to obesity after midlife and postmenopausal breast cancer. This map shows incidence rates of breast cancer in females by state in 2007. The states colored in light green have the fewest rates, and those in dark blue have the highest. The numbers show that the states colored with light green, about 100 to 117 women per 100,000 have breast cancer, and the states colored with dark blue have an incident rate of about 125 to 140 people per 100,000. In 2010, over 200,000 females and almost 2,000 men were newly diagnosed with breast cancer. The American Institute for Cancer Research, a nonprofit organization with funding from the World Cancer Research Fund, gathered a panel of scientists to review research done on breast cancer risk and physical activity, and published their report in 2007. They also looked at the effects physical activity had on breast cancer risk before and after menopause, and considered the difference between occupational and recreational activity. Many of these studies showed convincing evidence that increased amounts of physical activity decreased the risk of breast cancer. This risk reduction was significant in postmenopausal women, but not in premenopausal women. Next, we will examine one specific research study with similar findings. Physical activity and risk of breast cancer among postmenopausal women was a study done as part of the Nurses' Health Study, published in 2010. This multi-year study examined the relationships between lifestyle and disease of these nurses. Specifically, this study was done to examine the associations of physical activity with breast cancer risk among postmenopausal women. The researchers were interested in the importance of long-term and recent activity in the lives of the participants. They also looked at the change in the participants' activity and specific types of activity participants were involved in. Over 95,000 postmenopausal women were recruited from the Nurses' Health Study database. This study started in 1986 with the first questionnaire, which included lifestyle factors like an average time per week spent on a wide range of physical activities and their usual walking pace. The participants completed 7 more questionnaires before the end of the study in 2006, which was 20 years after the first questionnaire was taken. Reports of breast cancer by the participants in the questionnaire were confirmed through medical records. The researchers found that moderate physical activity reduces postmenopausal breast cancer risk. Moderate physical activity is activity done at an intensity that slightly raises the heart rate and might cause a sweat, but still allows the participant to carry on a conversation. They found that 5 hours of brisk walking per week was sufficient to reduce the risk of breast cancer. So this shows that women do not have to engage in intense physical activity to get a reduction in breast cancer risk. In addition, they found having an increase in activity after menopause may be beneficial. This suggests that it's not too late for women to reduce their risk for breast cancer, even if they have not previously been active. Simple modifications in your lifestyle to include moderate physical activities like walking can help to reduce breast cancer risk. Adding exercise is even more beneficial. Making physical activity part of your lifestyle will help keep you active and help to reduce your breast cancer risk in the future. Anyone can benefit from physical activity. Even individuals with a family history have been able to lower their risk for breast cancer with physical activity. In conclusion, the evidence is strong that a lifestyle including regular physical activity and maintaining a healthy body weight reduces breast cancer risk for women of all ages. Now that we understand the link between physical activity and lowering the risk of breast cancer, the American College of Sports Medicine and the American Heart Association's recommendations for healthy adults who are trying to maintain their current weight are 30 minutes of moderate intense cardio exercises 5 days a week and strength training exercises twice per week. Moderately intense exercise would be working hard enough to raise your heart rate and break a sweat, yet still being able to talk. They also recommend doing 8 to 10 strength training exercises with 8 to 12 repetitions of each exercise twice a week. This can be either strength or resistance training. This recommendation is slightly less than the recommendations for reducing breast cancer risk in the study we discussed earlier in this presentation. If you recall, walking 1 hour, 5 days a week significantly reduced breast cancer risk in postmenopausal women. 30 minutes of physical activity a day is still a good goal for those who are just getting started, and 30 minutes will still be beneficial in maintaining weight and reducing cancer risk. In summary, physical activity has many benefits, including maintaining a healthy body weight, reducing body fat, increasing lean muscle mass, strengthening bone, and enhancing mental and emotional well-being. Any form of physical activity can help to reduce cancer risk, but making moderate to vigorous physical activity part of your daily lifestyle will have a greater reduction in the risk of developing cancer.